So David Price finally comes good and defeats Dave Allen by 10th round, well, retirement actually. Dave Allen retired on his stool at the end of 10. Now, I spoke in my pre-fight preview about how David Price might elect to just box in this fight and be as technical as possible, because Price's losses to people like Christian Hammer, Tony Thompson, Alexander Povetkin, etc., these were to people who were much better technical fighters than Dave Allen and had much more amateur experience. So I did feel as though Price, if he just went in there with the mindset of trying to box, because he was talking about coming out, letting his hands go. And I did feel as though that might be a bit of misdirection from David Price. I mentioned that in the preview of this fight, that he might come out and just try and keep it technical. This is a very crude guy he's got in front of him. And that's exactly what he did. Now, I still picked Dave Allen to win late, because even against the likes of Cash Ali, David Price was looking gassed after a couple rounds. Against somebody as crude as Cash Ali, Pricey was trying to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And maybe it was fortunate that Cash Ali bit him for Pricey, because to me, it looked like Pricey was struggling. You know, even though he hurt Cash Ali in that round, that the fight ended and all that kind of business, I don't think Ali realized how much Pricey was struggling. And Pricey admitted, actually, in the fighter meeting, you can watch that, I think it's on a Matchroom or on the Sky Sports Boxing YouTube channel. You can watch Pricey talk about how he was knackered in the Cash Ali fight after a couple rounds because his mind wasn't in the right place. Well, for this fight against Dave Allen, he said he went to see a sports psychologist or whatever, and he's been working on his mindset going into the fight. And, well, whatever he did, it obviously worked, because this was the best performance David Price has produced for a long time. Again, granted, Dave Allen doesn't have the skills of a Povetkin. He doesn't have the skills of a Kuzmin. Doesn't have the skills of an Tepa. Allen is a very crude fighter. You know, I mentioned that before. We should all know that. He's very crude. His ability to win the fight was predicated on Dave Allen gassing out, basically. David Price gassing out. That's what his ability to win the fight was predicated on. But Pricey didn't gas out. Pricey held his stamina together. He was very relaxed in there. And he said in one of the post-fight interviews that he planned on going 12 rounds in this fight. And maybe that was one of the keys to victory from a psychological point of view, is that in his head, he was thinking, this is a 12-round fight. I'm not going to go in there and chin this guy. I might be telling people that I'm going to do that because it's misdirection on my behalf. It's a psychological trick. Well, really, I'm going to go in there and just be the classier fighter, which we always knew that he was. This is a guy who had vast amateur experience. He was an Olympic bronze medalist, etc., etc. Dave Allen had about, 7 amateur fights or 10 amateur fights, something like that. Very crude. And Price just went in there and showed him levels. Just showed him the class. Didn't gas out. That was the crucial thing. And Allen actually went into sparring partner mode, which has happened several times. Allen normally early in a fight will be in the sparring partner mode. And then after he takes a few, then he kind of gets motivated to hit you back. We saw that against Nick Webb. We saw that against, who was it now? Lucas Brown in the first couple rounds. You know, he's taking shots in the early rounds. Then he gets angry, kind of angry at the beating he's taken and starts throwing shots back. This fight was kind of the opposite for Dave Allen, because he started off, he wasn't throwing loads of shots, but his movements were very positive and confident and what have you. And he did try and throw some big shots in the early rounds. But once David Price got into his boxing rhythm, Dave Allen just went into like sparring partner mode, stopped throwing punches. And he showed how crude he was up close, because whenever he got up close, all he could do was throw like single clubbing hooks. He couldn't put both hands together and start throwing a combination to the body. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Somehow Dave Allen can't do that. He'll either throw one clubbing right hand this side or two clubbing right hands and then fall into a clinch. He can't just seem to put shots together. Again, this is because he's, a crude fighter. Nothing against Dave Allen, the man. And by the way, I hope he's okay. I heard that he was taken out on a stretcher. And as far as I'm aware, he actually retired in the fight. Okay, he quit in the corner. I saw his trainer, Darren Barker, talk to the referee at the end of the 10th and say, that's it. We want out of the fight. And the referee then looked at Dave Allen and asked Dave Allen, and Allen appeared to say, yeah, I'm done. So it appears as though he quit in the fight. Certainly wasn't feeling well in there. His eye was cut. He was just taking a sustained beating. And this is not the first time he's taken a sustained beating. We saw in the Tony Yoka fight, he took a sustained beating there. That takes years off your career when you're taking that kind of beating. Even in the Luis Ortiz fight, took a beating there too. So was taking another beating here. It was a long fight. Pricey was in absolute cruise control. Pricey wasn't tired. And this again shows you how boxing is so much of a mental game as much as it is physical. Because late in this fight, David Price was reeling off fast combinations. I know Mick Hennessy likes to talk about Huey Fury shades of Ali. This was shades of Ali, David Price. Reeling off fast combinations late in the fight. Like, what? So, good stuff from Pricey. And nice to see him come through a fight which on paper, a lot of people felt as though he was going to lose. I picked him to lose. Again, not because he don't have the pedigree, not because he don't have the ability. I felt like he did have the power to knock Dave Allen out. I thought he had the ability to outbox him. But this mental block that David Price has had for so long and this stamina issue, making heavy weather of fights like the Cash Ali fight, it doesn't exactly fill you with confidence when he's going in there against the Dave Allen who had a lot of momentum behind him, But yeah, David Price's class told, and he boxed very, very well. Maybe this was, the threshold that David Price needed to overcome. Maybe now he's over this mental block that causes him to gas. But then again, maybe not. Maybe if he's in there with somebody who can apply more effective pressure, he's going to gas again. Somebody who's not so crude as Dave Allen, but a bit more sophisticated in their attacks. We'll see. But for now, hats off to David Price. A nice performance for him. Good to see him in one of these fights, which he's, an underdog in. Good to see him actually winning one of those fights rather than being the victim every time and losing. So, yeah, hats off to him. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. And also, best prayers and wishes to Dave Allen. I hope he's okay because, boxing is a very dangerous sport. And last I heard from the update they gave on Sky that he is he is in hospital for a checkup and a scan and all that kind of business. But at the moment, he's been given they believe he's going to be okay. He seems to be all right at the moment. So let's hope he's going to be fine. But yeah, David Price's moment, good performance. And now he wants a big fight. I saw him angry in his IFL interview post-fight because of all the stick that he's been getting online. And you can understand that. He was also kind of giving it to Eddie Hearn a little bit, acting as though he was just being used as an opponent, which of course he was. He was being used to build up David Allen's career, and now he gets to demand that he has a big fight. I mean, to be fair though, David Price has had opportunities given to him by Eddie Hearn. Yeah, I know he was brought in as an opponent, but even when you're brought in as the opponent, it's still an opportunity, right? I mean, this fight here against Dave Allen was an opportunity. The Povetkin fight was an opportunity. The Kuzma, all these fights that he's had on Eddie Hearn shows have been opportunities. Tough, opponents to be having opportunities against, but there's still opportunities nonetheless. And in his IFL interview post-fight, he was saying that he wants a big fight now. He wants one of these bigger names in the heavyweight division. So we'll see what he can do. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Can David Price have an Indian summer in his career and beat somebody better than the level of a Dave Allen? at this stage. Can he do that? Or is that asking too much? Again, he does have Olympic pedigree. Yeah, maybe he's been through the character building experiences necessary to get the best out of himself physically, and maybe he'll turn up an upset or two. We'll see. So yeah, let me know what you guys feel in the comments. I'm out.